come probably next week. Like I mentioned previously, triple camera setups on both. You have ultra wide, wide, and telephoto lenses on all of these. But like I mentioned, look at the big size difference between the two. That is a massive size camera difference, and there's no LiDAR sensor on the iPhone 11 Pro either. Now you have the same 4K 60 on both, so you have 4K 60 on the front and the back on both of these. I'm sure the camera on the 13 Pro is going to be better, but you do have the same exact video resolutions you can film in. Now, in terms of the actual camera features and everything, they kind of have almost the same type of setup. There really isn't a crazy big difference. You can see at the bottom we do have photo mode, portrait mode, panoramic mode, but there is this new cinematic mode on the iPhone 13 Pro. You don't have it on any of the other iPhones besides the iPhone 13 series, so the 11 Pro is never going to have it, and it essentially just kind of blurs out, anything. It's kind of like portrait mode for your video, which I think is cool, but I don't know if it's a crazy big deal for a lot of people, but it is a really cool thing. I'm glad Apple put it in, but I was hoping to see bigger changes, maybe a newer camera UI. It's been the same exact thing forever. And, maybe we'll have to wait a couple more iPhones for that to happen. Now, like I mentioned with the iPhone 11 Pro series, this was my main phone at the time, 2 years ago, and this was a very solid phone. But I want you to kind of keep in mind the glitchiness when you kind of zoom out and zoom in is definitely not the smoothest experience. I noticed with the 13 series, it's kind of cleaned that up a little bit, but this sensor is still very good. Still the same 4K 60 like I mentioned, and it's a very solid sensor without a doubt. And with the iPhone 13 Pro, like I mentioned, look at how much smoother, at least in my opinion, it is when you zoom in and zoom out of a subject. I think that's probably the bigger change. Other than that, I didn't really see a crazy big difference. Like I mentioned, I'll go ahead and test it further probably in the next week or so. But I don't know. I haven't really noticed too many crazy big differences with the 13 series. Like I mentioned, Apple has spent a lot of time and a lot of money perfecting this camera. And I think they've kind of put themselves in a corner because the 11 series, the 12 series, they had such good cameras. And it's hard to kind of keep updating that. I think if they made, bigger camera UI changes, that'd be a bigger deal. But I think the iPhone 13 Pro's camera is still amazing. Is it a humongous difference from the 11 Pro? Not in my opinion, but we'll test it further. But from first glance, I don't really see that big of a difference between the two.